ho, ho, baby. Ooh, this is your main man, Anthony Brogdon, on the one and twos. I got a good-looking lady on the channel today. She gonna blow your mind. I am not playing with you, my friends. As you know, you've been watching me for a while now, because we over 400 some odd videos strong and going stronger every day. Oh, you gonna love this guest. She said, how long you gonna last? I said, about an hour. She said, I got 3 hours worth of talking to do. I got to condense it. I said, we're gonna get it in. We're gonna tell this story because it is my mission to inspire, to educate, and entertain. And I would suspect my guest, it is her mission to inspire and educate. She might do some entertainment. I'm not sure. But the entertainment department is when we, as I do on my show, I give it to you straight, no chaser. I try to intoxicate your mind through the guest. To not DUI stuff, though. No, not that. But to where you still stumble when you walk away after listening to what we present here on the show. Do me this favor, my friends. Subscribe. It's free. It don't ask no information. I'll be honest. It just let me know you like me. See, because what happens is there are people who I approach, and I'm not saying this lady in this particular way, but, I approach, folk, and they vet me. Hey, who is this guy? It ain't CNN, it ain't NSBN and all them other ones. So who is he? So they look on the channel to see how many subscribers, knowing that will include how many people might watch it. Now, I understand that. Got no problem with it because we are serious. I'm going to keep doing this. I have found my mission in life to give you this information. I truly enjoy it. So hit the like button on this video. You're going to love it a lot. I'm telling you. And there is no love button, just a like. Hit the notifications bell for when the videos come up. You get some kind of signal. One lady said she connected it to a song that she liked. So when the song plays, she said, "Ooh, there's more stuff on Strong Inspirations. I got to go and sit and watch it." And really, my friends, you ain't got to sit there and just watch it. You can just listen to it. Put it on while you in your car. Because we're not singing and dancing. We just sitting here, two people conversing. But you want to get this. You want to focus on it. And then, my friends, do this. Tell somebody about Strong Inspirations. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't do that. That's not good. Yeah, how about, I believe if you tell somebody about us, you'll be blessed because you enlightening their lives. A lot of times, and not everybody, but some people will say Black folks don't keep the history alive, don't tell it. Other people tell it, then they don't tell it correctly. Not no more. Not here on Strong Inspirations, because these people who come on here are experts. They are scholars. They live their lives and know these stories. Ain't no sugarcoating on here. Not at all. Did you see the one I did just recently with the guy out of New York, but he goes into them pyramids in Egypt? Watch that video. One of the things that I've run into is I go to church, I don't go every Sunday, but I go quite a few Sundays, right? Got to be strong. And that's how I get there. And I was talking to the pastor. I said, have you ever heard of the term amen? He said, that's where the Egypt theologians and religious people, they came up with that term. That's what they call their God. Amen. He said, I hadn't heard that. I said, you got to watch the video. Did you see the one I did with the guy who is out of Mobile, Alabama area? He grew up in a place called Africa Town. That's what it's called now. His great grandfather was on the last slave ship, the Catilda. And he met him because he was late coming around. The guy was born, he was 11 when he was on the ship, and that's 1860. And my man was an older gentleman. Said I met him, last few years of his life. My man came here as a slave, got his freedom, and him and a bunch of guys, they fled because slavery ended and then started their own community. Watch that video. Did you see the one I did with the lady who talks about Harriet Tubman? Her great grandfather was Harriet Tubman's minister up in St. Catherine, Canada. I go across the board, internationally too. I just released one not long ago of a guy out of Africa, no, out of the United Kingdom, who talks about his family getting there from Jamaica and so on and so forth. And my man said one day I got hit by a lightning bolt somehow, God, and said, I want you to talk on Twitter, this is his vehicle, about the injustices that happen here in this community. My man's been doing it a couple of years. He say, it's my calling now. I do this all the time. And my following is growing. I go across the board, my friends. We're not playing. We're going to give it to you, all of it, some form of fashion. You're going to really like this lady. So stay tuned, so to speak, right? Y'all know I'm a filmmaker. This is how serious I am. I put 2 years of my life in this documentary, Business in the Black, which chronicles the rise of Black business in America from 1800 to 1960. I tell you about Black millionaires. I tell you about slaves who own businesses. I tell you how slaves gained an education. It's in my film. It's streaming on Amazon. This is the DVD here, but you know, nobody got DVD players. Just go to Amazon and download it. And then I went one step further as I wrote this book. This is the #1 Black business history book on the market. There is none other that is this thorough, with over 200 facts, similar content as the documentary, but more. I name names I know you don't know. And I'm so confident that if you know everything in my book, send me a message. I'll give you your money back. Don't send me the book back. Give it to somebody who ain't as smart as you. I'm that confident. And let me report, last year, I donated 70 books to schools across America. For every 10th book I sell, I donate one. I had to be more than 70. It had to be like 110, something like that. I want them people to know this because they didn't teach me this in school. It would have inspired me beyond my imagination. Get you a copy. Now you can learn all that I do on my website, businessintheblack.net. Businessintheblack.net. The book is reasonably priced too. You can get you 4 or 5 of them. I don't want them in my basement. I want them in your house. I want you to read it and share it with your people. These amazing facts. It's going to do something to you. So get you a copy of that. You can follow me on Twitter at A Strong Dream. And I got a lot of events coming up here in this Detroit area, which is where I'm based. But you hear me use this term strong a lot. Strong is my favorite word, which my middle name was Strong. I like the word strong. I've been saying it a long time. And in my world, strong stands for strength, tenacity, resilience, and a sense of oneness, nobility, and grace. And that is my introduction to my guest today. She's a strong sister. Come on, lady, introduce yourself. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. And I am introducing myself. I'm Roxanne Aaron. I'm proud to be the president of the American Tennis Association, the baddest sports organization in the United States. And give you a little history about the organization. Let me just share. The ATA, American Tennis Association, came about in 1916. And November the 30th, we celebrated 106 years as an organization.
I love it. I love it. Okay, before we go, we're gonna go deep into that and Black folks in tennis and sports and like that. But I do it with all my guests, and I if you don't mind, I got to ask a couple questions about yourself. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Newport News, Virginia, and raised in Hampton, Virginia.
Did you were you in those communities? Were you in the Black side of town? And is there a Black side? There's a white side.
Oh yeah, kind of thing? I was born in the Black side. In fact, it's only recently that I found out that when my parents are natives of Lamar, South Carolina.
Okay.
And they came to Newport News, Virginia, and my father worked in the shipyard for a number of years. And my father became a pastor,
Okay.
and I just found out that he lived in public housing for a year. Didn't know that, and finally moved and brought his own home. And then
Okay.
we moved it, and then we moved to Hampton to a brand new all black neighborhood in Hampton, Virginia, of all brick homes. And at the time, I did not know. For years, I didn't know that my parents were considered middle class.
Okay.
I thought we were regular black folks.
Yeah. Well, he made the most out of his, and that's a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah.
What's where the white people live in those areas? What's
Um,
the black area called? What's the white area called?
okay, we live off of an area called was Aberdeen Road, and it was an all black area in uh, uh, in Hampton. But the white area, I don't know what the white area but you knew when you went in there was a white area. Okay, I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah, you knew it because they told you not to go there, son.
Oh yeah, they told you well you knew not to go there. Okay, it was an area that you knew not to go. And but the thing about it, what I really appreciate about the area, because I grew up in the 1960s, and what I appreciate about that time with black folks was that I can remember when my father we used to travel to South Carolina, and my father used to stop at a restaurant, and he used to go around to the back door
Oh,
to get
really?
food. And I did not know at the time what that was all about. And I did not know at the time when we traveled that we could not stop to use the bathroom. My father would pull over to the side of the road and then take my brothers out in the woods. I grew up with four brothers. I was the only
Yeah.
girl. And he would take them in the woods, okay, and come back to the car. And I did not know till later on that my parents had shielded us in a way to know that we were living through Jim Crow area during that time, that we couldn't use public bathrooms and could not sit in restaurants. And my mother and I used to love Woolworths. There was a Woolworths in Newport News, Virginia. And we used to love Woolworths hot dogs. And my mother and I used to go shopping, and then we would go stand at the end of the counter to order hot dogs and milkshakes and could not sit at the counter.
Wow.
And I did not know that was the case either. They did not make a big deal of that. Okay.
Okay,
To their
hold on, let me
children.
stop you there. Being who you are now, knowing, do you wish they had her?
Um, uh, I got to really think about that because I know why they didn't. They wanted us to grow up. I have to tell you, my father was very civil rights. He really believed in civil rights for
Okay.
Black folks, and he, in fact, was only when he died that I realized that through his paperwork that he met Martin Luther King Jr. when Martin Luther King came to Newport News. On one of his jaunts in Newport News, my father was a member of the NAACP in Virginia.
Okay.
But I think they did not want us to grow up with some kind of malice and hatred and how we felt because he was a minister. They want us to come and what they taught us to be self-reliant and to feel positive about ourselves.
Okay. What did
Okay.
he say about white people? Did he put like a little fear in you of white people? Was that a
No,
part of it? Or
no, he
but be
brought us up.
careful how you say stuff, whatever.
No, he brought us up to be true to ourselves, but to be aware of the law. Okay, and he brought my four brothers up about when you get stopped by a cop. Okay, you be compliant. Okay, he taught all of us how to when you get stopped to put your hands on the wheel. He gave us certain
Yeah,
parameters of
yeah,
what to
yeah,
do.
yeah,
Put
yeah,
your
yeah.
hands on the wheel. Just be cool
Yeah.
and not try and not to try to say too much stuff to try to play the game. There's a game that my father's thing was that there's a game in life to be played, and you need to know how to play it.
I got you. Growing up there, Virginia, in particular, Richmond, was a hotbed for not civil rights, but for racism and for slavery.
Oh
What
yeah.
was that? Were there monuments and Confederate
Oh yes.
flags and all
Oh,
that
you
in
know
your
they
time?
were. Oh yeah, you know there were monuments and Confederate flags. But let me tell you something that that I kind of miss. I grew up where the black neighborhoods, we had our own doctors,
Yeah,
lawyers, businesses in the black neighborhood, and so everyone protected each other. If neighbors were really close, if you was one of the kids that decided to skip school and not do things, the neighbor would call your parents and tell your parents, or talk to
yeah,
your parents and tell your parents about it. You
yeah,
know, it was a close neighborhood. And sometimes I have some thoughts about what the civil rights movement might have done to us.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, so they never told you. Did you ever have an encounter with a white person?
Yes, I had an
Yeah.
encounter with a white person. My father, like I said, my father as a preacher, sometime he was asked to come preach at a church. So one time I went with him, with a couple of people, to Alabama and to Mobile, Alabama. And we were there for a week for what they call revivals at the time. And I went to a laundromat to wash clothes. And there was a little white girl at the laundromat that called me the N word for the first time. I never heard
Yeah,
it
I was going to
before.
ask you that. Have you ever had that? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
called me for the first time an N word at the first time that what are you doing here washing clothes in the laundromat? Okay. And I told her I could wash clothes anywhere I want to wash clothes. Okay. And I stayed there and washed clothes.
And so that kind of squashed it. There was no more to it than that.
No more. She didn't do anything. I guess she got the look on my face. You know,
Yeah.
black women know how to give you the look.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. She knew that was going to
Okay.
be a beat down
And she knew there was
for
gonna be
no
that
reason.
there was a beat. There was gonna be a beat down.
Yeah. Let me go back just a little further though. If maybe do you know this? Do you know where the plantation is in your family?
I don't. I don't know where the plantation is in my family, but I do know, and it's very interesting that you bringing that up because this past week I visited a couple aunts. I have an aunt that is turning 90 years old this year that lives in New Jersey, and I visit her to find out that we're from Lamar, South Carolina, as I said, and that my great great grandmother was Cherokee Indian.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Okay.
and I didn't know that my great great grandmother was Cherokee Indian that married a black man. And she talked about that we now that some parts of the family are looking at when we came over to South Carolina, our family from Africa. So we're gonna start really looking at that,
I love it. Yeah.
researching that.
Yeah, finding out that story. Um, as you did so, and I'm taking liberties, did so well in school. Was there ever an instance where they tried to hold you back or put the white person over because you had better grades? Did that ever happen to you?
I never got that. When we moved to from Newport News to Hampton, I was the first. I was the first class to go to integrate into the high school.
Oh, really?
I was part of that first class that was bused into the high school, and I did not get a sense of in Hampton of and I did well. I did well for as
Sure, sure,
grad for in the high school
sure.
competing against white students, and I didn't get a sense when I went there of segregation or what.
Oh,
I didn't
really?
see that. I didn't really see that. And let me tell you something. The reason why, and I thought about it sometime, but why I didn't really see open racism,
Yeah,
and it's because of how my parents raised me. They raised me to really think, really be proud of who I am, to really think that I can be what I want to be.
yeah,
And when you go into a place and you think you're the baddest thing around, you don't see some of that things. And
yeah,
other people see it too, and they know how far to go with you.
yeah, yeah. No, I understand that. So, when did you come to like Black history?
Um, I uh, I went to college originally, been at college in Greensboro, North
Oh,
Carolina,
I've heard of Bennett. Yeah,
HBCU, all girls college.
yeah.
I went to college originally, studying history. I wanted to be a history teacher.
Uh,
And so that's when I really got into really looking at Black history, and more so, I became aware when I graduated from college. I went to Connecticut, and I lived in Connecticut for 35 years in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And in Connecticut, I became president of the NAACP of a local chapter.
Oh, really?
Yes, I served in NAACP for 6 years.
Yeah.
So that got me a little bit more into Black history.
Okay, we got a couple of angles that I want to follow up on. We're gonna get to the tennis, I promise you that.
Okay,
but one of the angles is, what was Bennett College like? What's the history of Bennett College that you can tell me?
Oh my God, Bennett
so
College.
on and so forth.
Let me tell you, Bennett College. It was a great school for me to go to. And let me tell you something about going to a HBCU. And I've talked to a lot of people that tend to be HBCUs. Attending an HBCU give you a sense of purpose, because you go to a school where you're surrounded by other Black folks that are there for the same thing you were there for, education. You get a chance to know who you are, and to be comfortable in your own skin.
I love it.
And sometimes you don't get that by going to a white establishment. You don't get that.
Yep, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So you get a chance to talk to other Black folks, and you find out their journey and where they came from and who they are.
Yeah.
And how we as a race are stronger. Really we are the beginning, because we are the beginning of the human race.
That's right.
Okay. And sometimes people don't try to give us that purpose, that we are the beginning.
That's right.
Of who this whole, all of the races.
Yeah.
So
now, who founded Bennett? Who founded Bennett?
Well, you can't ask me that now. It was Bennett was founded. I'm not gonna get to. Bennett was founded by. It's a Methodist school.
Okay.
It was founded by some white folks, and really, when you look back at some of the history of some of the other HBCUs, they were founded by white folks.
Yeah, that's right. No, there's no question.
And they were founded by white folks that really wanted. They looked at Black people, and some of them had good intentions. They wanted to start a school where we get our own education and we could do our own thing.
Yeah.
So Bennett was founded by white folks, but and Bennett has endured a lot, has developed a lot of Black women.
Yeah, sure.
That have gone to do, and I think there's only two schools left now.
Yeah. Let's go from there and go back on the other note that you talked about, being the president of the NAACP. What was your biggest fight? Did you ever have something that was scary to you because you had to stand in the middle with the mic all that?
Oh yeah, I had something that was my biggest fight. Like, let me tell you, in one of the towns, we represented quite a few towns. We were Middlesex County NAACP. We represent a whole slew of towns in Connecticut. And one of my biggest fights were that in one of the towns, 3 Black boys were kicked out of a bar in one of the towns in Connecticut, and they called me. One of the Black boys called me to say that they were kicked out of a bar and they were attacking a bar, and the bar was called the Glock bar. And we know Glock for a certain kind of gun.
Yeah, okay.
And they were and it was a civil rights issue where they were called all kinds of names and everything like that. And I, as president, put together a group of people, and we decided to do a protest in front of the bar. And the bar ended up being on a main drag in this town, and it was next to a post office, U.S. Post Office. So I organized a protest, and buses of NAACP came from all over Connecticut and Washington, D.C. And we lined the streets in protest with our signs. And that was really something else, because these were who attended this bar was white boys.
Yeah.
Okay, they had their own Glocks and they had their own guns and they had their own Confederate flags in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And they were out there in force too. But we put on such a peaceful force that the town would ride by the people in the town would ride by and honk their horns and say they were for us. They didn't want that in their town because the town was somewhat of a town where you had rich white folks live there.
Yeah, okay.
So at the end of the day, after we did our protest, I had protests. I even had my young 6-year-old son out there. He still reminds me today that I had him out there protesting with his little sign up. And at the end of the day, the post office in the town got rid of the bar. They closed it down.
Oh, really?
They did not renew their liquor license, and they closed it down.
Yeah.
And the boys,
go ahead.
The 3 boys, what made it much better was 2 of the boys were college students, and 1 of the boys was in the military. And they were young 20-year-olds and had not been in trouble, had not had any problems.
Yeah.
The ATA, the NAACP we got our attorney for them. So that was I was proud of that moment. But we had a couple situations like that.
Okay, let me stay on that one. Was there did you get a death threat or anything the night before or something? Did the sheriff tell you, hey, you be careful, there's gonna be trouble, any of that?
I did talk to the sheriff of the town, the police sheriff of the town, and they did tell me, like, okay, we watching these guys, just keep watch where you live at, your surroundings, because I didn't live in that town. I live in an adjacent town, so they did tell me to watch out for my surroundings and everything like that. Because I was ready for a fight. I had my militant part of me coming out, and I was ready for a fight on that one, and said that we weren't going to allow that to happen. So that was really an experience.
Was that could you go back in your mind while you was going through, that was a Ida B. Wells moment for you, or something like that, where you could say, dang, I did something that they did back in the day, in the early 20s, fighting for rights?
You know what? I didn't think about that at the time. I just thought about what that was the right thing to do for me to do, because I was really all into what the disadvantages that people of color had.
I got you.
And then I just knew that was something I had to do as president of the NAACP.
I got you. I love it. So now, as we transition from that to what you do today, you are, go back over it again. You're the president of what?
I'm the president of the American Tennis Association, which is called foundly the ATA. And we came about, that's another thing, the story is, we came about in 1916. We were birthed in Washington, D.C. A bunch of tennis players and doctors, lawyers, businessmen came together, businesswomen came together to form an organization, because at the time, what is now the USTA didn't allow Black and brown people to play tennis on a national level.
You're talking about pro tennis. They couldn't play pro tennis.
Couldn't play pro tennis. So we came together and said, we're gonna form our own organization so that everybody can play tennis. So that's what we did. We during that time, the early stages, we had clubs from all over the United States. You'd be surprised how many people were playing tennis, local tennis organizations. And we also, during those early days, could not stay in hotels, and hotels was segregated. So we formed partnerships with HBCUs and stayed on their campus and played at their tennis courts, because the local parks and recs would not allow Black and brown folks to play on the park and rec tennis courts.
So now, okay, I play tennis now, everybody. That's part of how I, try to keep in shape, what have you. That golf, that ain't enough for me. But how big was tennis? What Black people, they brought a racket and they played.
Oh yeah, brought a racket. Let me just tell you something. Our first tennis tournament was in 1917 in Drew Hill Park in Baltimore. And for years, we played all over the country, and we would draw 900 to 1,000 tennis players, and that's just tennis players who play tennis in our tournament, and that's not counting the family and the other friends that would come to watch tennis. Okay, and what I found out later is this is how popular it was back in the day. We had stars come to our tennis tournaments. Stars like and I'm trying to figure out Bill Cosby is a lifetime member of the ATA. Aretha Franklin used to come. Gladys Knight used to come. Just naming some of the people that used to come to our tennis tournaments.
Okay. So now, Black people playing tennis. Did they have private clubs? Did they ever develop a private club?
Yes, we had
private Black tennis clubs.
Yep, we have private clubs as we have today. Now we had more back then. We don't have that many private clubs today, but we had private clubs where tennis players go to play. We have a big one of our clubs is in Boston, Massachusetts. Okay, there's a big club in Boston, Massachusetts where people go to play clubs. So we have clubs all over the United States, and we also have one of our sections in Puerto Rico.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right. Every year, 20 junior players come from Puerto Rico to play tennis.
Who is the first guy or lady that really got notoriety, Black person, understandably, for playing tennis?
Well, I'm gonna love telling you this story.
Yeah.
Althea Gibson, where everybody know, most people know. Althea Gibson was the Jackie Robinson of tennis. She broke the color barrier, and what happened with that story was she was a junior player playing tennis, excellent player playing tennis, and she was under the guidance of the first gentleman, Dr. Werwood Johnson, who lived in Lynchburg, Virginia. He started our first junior development program, and the board of the ATA and Dr. Johnson worked to go to the USTA to say, look, can you guys give this player an opportunity to play tennis? We know she's great. We know she's good. Can you give her a bye? So the USTA said, okay. They felt that, let's go give her a bye, let her play tennis. And they did. And that's where history was made. She went out there and she did game busters. She won Wimbledon. She won the French Open. She won the USTA. She kicked butt. Yeah. And she had a hard time during that time too, because the first time she went out to play tennis, and she witnessed some of the same things that some of the further down, we can talk about the Williams sisters witnessed, coming out there, walking out there and getting all the boos and calling all kinds of names. But she was the right person for the time as Jackie Robinson, which we know because we had some good Black women playing tennis, but she was the right person because she came out with her head held high, okay? And she came to do a job. She knew that it was a bigger mission.
What years were this?
Oh God, why are you going to ask me that? Because I think it was.
Is this the 40s?
Yeah, I think it was the 40s. 1940s.
When she did it. Yeah.
That when she did it was the 40s, and we had some good players, women players prior to her now, but was not the right time for them. Okay, so she came out just in time, and right behind her, who came out right behind her on the men's side was Arthur Ashe.
Oh, okay,
Arthur Ashe was a junior tennis player born in Richmond, Virginia. Dr. Robert Werwood Johnson, okay, the coach that coached him also, and helped lead him to the USTA. And today, Arthur Ashe is really reverend I'm gonna say the minister.
Now Arthur Ashe won Wimbledon, didn't he? Or he won.
Yes,
he won a big one.
Wimbledon. He won the U.S. Open. He won the yes.
Yeah. Well, when if you could reflect, when Althea Gibson did what she did, was it one of the things that was televised on TV, and it was the biggest thing, Black America looking for this Black girl to beat the white girl, that kind of thing?
Yeah, it was televised on TV, and then plus when she came back to New York, she was living in New York at the time, I think, and they did a ticket parade for her.
Oh, really?
When she came back, but the thing about it, what is so sad is that she did not get the money that win the big purses and get the money that she surely should have gotten while she played tennis.
Mm-hmm.
When she died, and I think she died in the 70s. I'm not too sure. I was not really. She did not. She didn't die rich or with all the the accolades and with the sponsorships as tennis players get now.
Even after she was allowed to play, did they stop her from playing? Somebody did somebody say she can't play here in a professional tournament?
I don't think that happened.
Okay.
They didn't really do that. But the other thing that she was great at, she was great at golf.
Oh, okay.
I don't know you knew that.
No way.
She was an excellent golf player. And she was on tour. She was on the tour, the women's golf tour for a minute.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you go back and look at her history, yeah, she was a great golf player. And there's something about golf and tennis that a lot of our tennis players do play golf.
The swinging of the hips, probably.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it is.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
The same motion in some respect.
Yeah.
When we talk about Black folks back in those days, it is kind of amazing that despite all of the other civil rights stuff, that we did mainstream life activities like tennis and like golf, and then became very good at it. Is there a motto of your association, that a picture or a logo or something that defines who you all are? You know what I'm asking you?
Yes, there is. I don't know. Have you go to our website?
I must admit, I have not.
Oh, you ought to be shaming yourself.
Yeah, I know I am.
Our website is yourata.org. And you go to our website, you look at our mission and our vision. And our mission is to we want to overall our mission is to make sure that everyone that no matter what color you are, that you have an opportunity to play tennis. And our goal is to reach out to especially our young boys and our young girls to play tennis, especially boys, because our boys have been pushed for football, baseball, basketball, and some of our boys don't know how and don't know that tennis is a lifelong sport.
Yeah, right.
One of my oldest son played tennis, and he went to college on tennis scholarship. And we talked about how with tennis, it teaches you other things about life. Because when you go out on the court to play tennis, you're your own coach. You don't have a team behind you that can catch it. You got to make your own decisions on how you're going to make a play. And work on your backhand yourself, not someone else going to catch you when you can. And so you learn something from that. And when you play tennis, you can take a racket anywhere. You can go fly, take a train, whatever, take a racket, and go find a tennis court and play tennis.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
So we talk about that. So our overall, the future, what we want to do is that we want to encourage more Black and brown children to look at the sport of tennis. Yeah,
because we've, as you alluded to this a tad earlier, with the Williams sisters and the success they've had, it seemed like, so, understandably, I see somebody else Black, oh man, I think I can do it too, and it encourages others. So there's been a bunch of sisters and brothers who come up seeing that other brothers and sisters are doing this and becoming very good at it.
Oh, they have, and that's what I love about what Serena and Venus Williams have done for the sport. They have opened it up, and the thing about it is that they open it up in such a way that they let it know that we all can play Black and brown and play tennis. And one of the things I keep saying about Serena and Venus, when they came out on tennis court, they didn't look like the same as the white girls look. They had a different look about themselves.
Yeah.
And sometimes people would concentrate on that look, but they proved that it was more than their look. It was their athletic ability.
Yeah.
To play that sport.
Does your association have a annual conference?
Y'all
have tournaments that you all sponsor?
Oh yes, we have an annual national tournament, nationals that we have every year. And the last few years we've held that tournament in Orlando, and it's going to be in Orlando this year too, at the USTA National Campus. And our tournament today draws about 700 players from all over the United States and Puerto Rico and Africa and Dominican Republic.
Oh, I love it.
Oh yeah, you gotta come.
I gotta come. When is this? When did you know the
this
date?
year is July the 24th to July the 30th.
So to have 700 players, you gotta have a lot of courts, and then they have to qualify, don't they? They gotta qualify.
Well, let me just tell you, we usually have 20 hard courts and 20 clay courts. The clay courts, 20 clay courts for the adults, and 20 hard courts for the junior players. So we have plenty of courts. And people just sign up. You ain't got to qualify. You ain't got to say, oh, what? You don't have to qualify. You just sign up and say you want to come and play tennis.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. And we're known as, it's a family affair. You come and you know you're going to have a good time. Now, the adults come for one thing. The adults come to shoot the breeze, play some tennis, and then go to the bar afterwards and talk smack.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Win or lose.
We are win or lose. You're gonna meet so many good people from all of the country to talk about, and you going out there. You can play singles. You can play doubles. You can play mixed doubles, and our oldest players are 80 years old. Okay. Yeah. 80-year-old players. We got some guys that come every year.
Okay. Do you all have a newsletter or something like that? How do you tell people not just about what you're doing, but training and whatever?
Well, what I'm gonna do is we got an email list. So what I'm gonna do is when I get off this call, I'm gonna add you to our email. I'm gonna add you to the email list. So you get newsletters, you get all kinds of updates of what's going on. So I'll add you to that so you can do it, so you can play it. So you can get some information about it. We belong to this other organization, the bigger, huge organization called Tennis Industry United, which came about at the early stage of the pandemic. The ATA was asked to join this large organization. So by joining this large organization, our information go out to thousands and thousands of people.
I love it.
Okay. And we, as an organization, we have about 3,000, 4,000 members. The ATA has.
Right.
It might be
what's the largest chapters? Who's got the largest chapters under the ATA in various states?
Well, I think the Maryland has the largest chapters. Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland has the largest.
Yeah. Because I know the way I play tennis here in Detroit, I think they probably know of. I know they know of you and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, because we have one of our sections is in that area. It's called Mid-Tech.
Okay.
That's a section of the ATA. So people that live in Detroit play in there. So if you want to get a chance to look up that section, it's called Mid-Tech. Mid-Tech, and a lot of players play. They hold tournaments July 4th tournaments, and every year. So we have some clubs that every year they have their section that they hold tournaments.
Do you all have a building that contains your artifacts and pictures of all the presidents and that kind of thing?
Let me just tell you something. That's something I'm working on now.
I love it.
I'm working on that now. We don't have a set place with all our artifacts and all our pictures, but what I can tell you, if you go to there's a museum in Newport, Rhode Island. It's a tennis museum.
Okay.
They have, if you go online to the website, they have some exhibits of ours, and they also have what we call is a virtual exhibit.
Okay.
That you can see all the you can see the history of the ATA from all the players everyone that have played the ATA, and players like James Blake.
Yeah, right. I know that name.
James Blake was came through the ATA as a junior player.
Okay, I got.
Okay, he's one of the,
Yeah.
So you'll see all those players. You'll be surprised at all the players that came that played. Even the tennis player Coco.
Yep.
Coco played the ATA when she was 7 years old. Kick butt.
I bet.
So she was
Would,
that was one. She played the ATA for three. She played the ATA 3 times and kick butt 3 times.
would y'all like to have a Hall of Fame, an ATA Hall of Fame?
We would love to have an ATA Hall of Fame. Now there is a Black Hall of Fame that has a dotted line to the ATA. If you go look it up, there's a Black Hall of Fame. That a lot of the players are players from the ATA.
Okay. Does the museum in DC have something on you all? The Smithsonian?
Let me just tell you something. That's something else that I got to work on, because I found out that the museum, the Black Museum in DC, don't have anything on the ATA, but they have information about Arthur Ashe and Althea.
I'm sure.
But nothing on the ATA. And I think that's something that we my historian on the ATA, that's something we're working on now to get something, because we need to be in the museum.
Yeah, right. So what we're talking about, 1916, 16 minus 23 is 7. So 107 years old?
No, well, it'll be 107 this year. We're 106 years old as of November 3rd.
Yeah, right. That's longevity.
I know.
That's a bunch of people saying we're gonna keep this alive.
That's right. That's what's so exciting about that, as a Black organization, that we're still here. And that we're still here and we're still in business, and we plan to be here a long time.
I love it.
What one of my things that my goals is that to bring more young Black folks, young Black tennis players in their 40s, 30s, and 40s to take the lead in the ATA.
Yes.
So with new thoughts and new concepts about tennis, to really make sure that we keep this organization going.
I love it. Yeah, well, I like that building and that museum concept. You know, as you all have artifacts, and y'all might have a list of all the presidents and their pictures or something like that. Yeah, put that up. Your picture will be there, and so on and so forth. Give us the website again.
The website is www.yourata.org.
So your is YOUR. Yourata.org. And then this coming summer is the tournament in Orlando.
Orlando, and that's where I'm at right this moment. I'm in Orlando, Florida, July the 24th to July the 30th.
Okay, big time there, everybody. Gonna be fun. You can win or lose, but you're gonna have a good time with all the brothers and sisters.
And you know what I should tell you too? We just started our annual gala, tennis gala, where we recognize, we did the first one last year, we'll have another one. We'll recognize people in the tennis industry.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have the second one this year. It's a big, huge gala, nice affair. People come and listen to some good music. And awards are given out.
Yeah, I
love recognizing.
I love it. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna stay in touch on that note. Just right quick, last question. Is there a question that I have not asked you? Something you want to let people know, that kind of thing? Anything come to mind?
I'm trying to think. I think you've asked me a lot of questions.
I've done it. Okay, cool. Because I you know, some people say, "Oh man, I meant to say that," and I didn't give them that. Thank you so very much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
for telling us this, because that's some good history. That Black history ain't all gloom and doom.
No,
there were Black people that had some free time, less stressed time, what have you, and they exercised and played tennis. Would not have known that per se. Thanks for that. Hey, everybody, hit the subscribe button on Strong Inspirations. I'm telling you, we coming at it from all angles. We coming at you from all angles. And hit the like button on this video. I know you liked it. Very good delivery and so on and so on. I knew what she was saying. Committed to the cause. And then notifications bell. Tell somebody about Strong Inspirations. The website and all that will be in the description on this video. And to you, my sister, I say this, and I mean this with all sincerity. I really do. I want you to stay strong, stay safe, stay on your grind. I love what you're doing. You taking it to the next level. You're gonna make that happen. You're gonna get there. You're gonna find that building. You're gonna get that money together. You're gonna put that thing in the Hall of Fame and all that. It's going down.
Okay, you know what? And I'm gonna send you something for some sponsorship dollars too.
Okay, do that. Got no problem with it. Do that. Everybody, strong inspirations. Thank you so very much. Bye-bye. We out.
Thank you.